Hello all, welcome back to my channel. Let's learn about something related to artifacts which are required for the sprints. Okay, so in previous session, in previous videos, we have learned something related to Scrum, the Scrum roles and the values and many things which are related to Scrum. Okay, Scrum methodology. So now we are proceeding with the artifacts. What are the artifacts are using are going to use in the sprints? Okay, there are three artifacts we are having, that is product backlog, backlog and the increments. Okay, let's go ahead and see in depth one by one. So in this slide you can see artifacts one is the product backlog. The product backlog is an ordered list of everything that might be needed in the final product of the project. In other words, parts of the expected final product, a wish list. Okay, so every requirement and every change in the project will be reflected in the product backlog. The product backlog is dynamically changing and improving. It is never complete. Okay, so we are having some meetings like product refinement, backlog refinement meeting in every week we are having. Owner sets a number of factors to determine the value of each item for the business, customer business. Okay, customer point of view. The product backlog items will then be ordered based on their values in a way that the higher an item is, the sooner it will be delivered by the development team, as the item located at the top of the product backlog will be delivered sooner. They will also be more detailed and clear compared to the lower items. Okay, so you can see it's a in depth, the product backlog, that is details appropriately. We have to put all the details appropriately so that development team will get clarify each and every item. What about it is how they can develop the code and everything they can get realize of that. Then the estimation, that is deep method, the DEEP, that is detail appropriately, then the estimated, then the emergent and the prioritized. Okay, this is what about product backlog. Deep, detail appropriately, estimated, emergent and prioritized. Okay, so each product backlog item also has a work estimation. Okay, that is deep, that is estimated E. These estimates are solely done by the development team and are used in comparison to the capacity of the development team in a single sprint to determine the number of items that will be selected for that certain sprint. It depends on capacity of the development team. Okay, we always do the capacity planning for the sprints. Okay, so additional information might be added to each item to help the Scrum team take control. The Scrum team should add the details, estimates, and order to the backlog item, product backlog items all the way through the project, which is called the product backlog refinement. That is refinement or the product backlog grooming also. We can say the both are the same. The product backlog is created based on the discussion rather than the documentation. The product backlog items should be easy to understand for non-technical stakeholders. Okay, so order and emergent list, live documents means the discussions after that, the documentation, then the different levels of the details on top, small task, clear or something, all the levels of details we have to mention in that. Then the final authority with the PO, that is product owner. Then the one product backlog, one product, multiple scrum teams. Okay, the teams will be multiple. In each team we can go ahead with maximum 10 members. Okay, 10 members included scrum master and PO. Okay, then one product backlog for one product. Okay, and multiple teams will go ahead with that product backlog. Yeah, so here you can see it's a team management matrix I have given, that is urgent, not urgent, then the not important things. Okay, so we have to do as per that. So quadrant of the urgency is the crisis, pressing pressing problems or deadline driven projects or something meetings preparations that will be urgent and the important. Then important, okay, then the not urgent where the quadrant of the quality, that is preparation, prevention, value certification, planning, relationship building and empowerment, okay, which will be the important but not urgent, correct? Yeah. Now, not important but urgent, that is quadrant and distraction, that is interruption, some phone calls, many pressure matters or any impediments, we can say many popular activities, those we have to address urgently, but of course not important for that particular point of things, okay. While creating the product backlog, emails, reports, meeting and often hijacks in them, okay. But not urgent and not important, quadrant of the wastage, we can put it in dustbin, lean management, okay. Remove the wastage, okay. Busy work, junk emails, some phone calls, time waster, escape activities, many conflicts or those things, we can put it as a dustbin, okay. Yeah, remove it. So this is a sample of the product backlog. You can see is the backlog items and estimation will be decided by the developer team. Okay. In the when POS will be there. Okay. Because he will sign and he will give the approval for that product backlog. He is the owner of. So, backlog item example here is allow guests to make the reservation. This you can see can be understandable by the stakeholders as well, who are non-technical people. So, backlog item understandable them by them as well and estimated by the developer teams. So, this is some examples we can see. Okay, just go through this slide once. So we are having one activity that is product backlog refinement. The besides the time box event discussed before, there is also an ongoing activity in the Scrum projects called product backlog refinement. This is the activity we can say this is we are having one meeting weekly once we can put it. Okay, so it is the act of reviewing and revising the product backlog item, which typically involves adding details, estimation, and order to them. Okay, we can reorder those. We can re-estimate. We can add the details as well. Okay, it is ongoing process. So product owner is the responsible for ordering, that is prioritizing the items, and the development team is responsible for estimating those items. Okay, prioritizing by product owner, estimating by development team. Okay, when the product owner adds a new item to the backlog, product backlog, he will explain it to the development team and ask for the estimates. Therefore, everyone knows the meaning of the item before the sprint planning and the estimates are ready. Okay, what happens in the beginning of the sprint planning is that they review it just to make sure that everything is okay. This point is we can say if we are going to adopt the safe model, so safe methodology for the agile scrum method, then we are having the PI planning meeting, okay, for 2 days. In that 2 days we always do these things. So the main difference between this activity and the 5 scrum events is that the scrum events are all time box, okay, but this is an ongoing activity that happens throughout the sprint. This activity should not consume more than the 10% of the time of the development team. Okay, so this is called the product backlog refinement meeting. We can schedule at weekly once. Okay, 1 or 2 hour, 1 hour max. Okay, yeah. The 5 scrum events means I have added this sprint as well as this scrum events, and if they are they are asking for the ceremonies, scrum ceremonies, then you can go ahead with the 4 ceremonies. And this one is the product backlog refinement. It's you can say it's an activity we do always. Yeah, so this is the product backlog refinement flow chart. You can see how to do the product backlog refinement. So you can say it's a product backlog refinement meeting begins at the left hand side. Any item to refine? No, then we can end up. that meeting? If yes, then start 10 minutes time box discussion on the item. Okay, then PO, that product owner, explain why and what is that item, product backlog item. Does development team address, understand what and why? No, then item goes back to um that list. Okay, if yes, then team will create how to create it. Okay, then estimate that item. And so this is the look of that refinement flowchart. You can go ahead with the slides and learn something much more in depth. Okay, you can explain what exactly happened while the refinement meeting is carrying. Okay, you can explain in depth while interview process. Okay, yeah. So, the second artifact is the sprint backlog. The sprint backlog is created during the sprint planning event, which is first event in a sprint. During the sprint planning event, the Scrum team collaborates on creating a sprint backlog, which consists of the following: number of items selected from the top of the product backlog based on their estimated works and the estimated capacity of the development team, capacity planning. Okay, yeah, the sprint goal, which will help describe the real meaning of the item and direct the efforts of the development team. Okay, sprint goal. The detailed plan for the delivery of each item and the realization of the sprint goal during the sprint. Okay, yeah. The sprint backlog item and the sprint goal are frozen after the sprint planning. Okay, the development team will focus on delivering an increment of done based on this plan. However, it might be necessary to get more information, justify or clear some of the items during the sprint with the help of the PO, product owner, which should be done in the presence of the product owner. The detailed plan task which is not complete at the end of the sprint planning will continue to be updated as the sprint continues. Okay, we can go ahead and put it in the product backlog again, and again we are taking in the next sprint. Okay, so during each sprint planning session, the team returns back to the product backlog to pick recently prioritized user stories for the sprint. Sprint backlog is subset of product backlog. Sprint backlog is an output of sprint planning meeting. In sprint backlog, Scrum team works on how the user stories would be implemented in the sprint by dividing it further into task and estimating. Okay, yeah, you can create a hierarchy of the subtask of any user story if it's a large one. Then okay, and developers own and manage the sprint backlog. Product owner owns the product backlog. Okay. Yeah. So the next artifact is the product increment. The product backlog item satisfying the DoD, that is definition of done. Then the product increment will happen. Then the incremental, the stepping stone towards the product goal. Okay, the usable and the PI, the product that is increment usually contains of this six sprint quarter wise. Okay, if you are having the 2 week sprint, then sprint, then the two sprints for the 1 month, then quarter wise it's a six sprints. Okay, 3 months. The PI, after that it will goes to the product increment. Okay, you can deploy the things every month or after 3 months or something. Is as per the decision taken and the safe model we can use it. Okay, we are going to discuss the safe model as well in coming videos so that you can get the ideas how many scrum teams will can arrange it under the one roof. Okay, and control. So this is all about the artifacts. First one is the product backlog, second is sprint backlog, and the product increment. Just go through these videos and learn something more. And if you are having some any concerns or having insights or something, just put it in the comments so that we can also learn together. Thank you.